As always, I'd like to start by thanking everyone involved in this chapel, all my readers and musicians, the wonderful people who helped set up for Chapel Outdoors, and especially to Mr. Clark and Mr. Zunka for helping me with revision and editing. Before I start, I also want to take a moment to appreciate the amazing stroke of luck that is this weather. Without it, we wouldn't have the chance to enjoy chapel and lunch outside today. I remember zipping up my purple Gap sweatshirt. I remember entering into this winter wonderland as if the cave's ingrained icicles fell, popping the protective bubble surrounding my 3-year-old self. I remember hopping from rock to rock, enclosed in a magical grotto. My quest to climb the toughest, most challenging rocks consumed me with a budding, adventurous spirit. With tiny, stubby fingers, I managed to hoist myself up onto a ledge. Contrasted with my small stature, which hasn't really changed, the slant of the ledge and the pooling puddles below seemed to hold a menacing distance. Nervous, but trying hard not to show it, in hopes of impressing my older siblings, I put on a brave and triumphant face for the flash of a camera. The rest of the story fades into a fog strengthened by the growth of time, but I still savor those little fragments of my 3-year-old self, and if not for my most recent trip to Colorado this past summer, I wouldn't remember them at all. Usual visits to Colorado imply lots of snow, skiing, and an excruciating long drive to get to our destination. But since wildflowers and green-toothed mountains sat upon the horizon, a different route of vacation was in store. Our oversized Suburban climbed the infamous Independence Pass, which usually sits non-existent in the winter, covered in snow and the threat of avalanches. After about an hour of car sickness-inducing driving, the 14,000-foot mountains concaved all around us, like we somehow crept into the depths of a shark's mouth, each tooth another razor-edged rocky. The sheer edge off the mountain, fused with the fresh air, cultivated a collective sense of wonder, as I had never seen Colorado with such vibrance. The top of the pass capped at an elevation of 12,095 feet. There, we piled out of the vehicle, absorbing the elevated air. The mountains served as our stilts, propping us up higher so we could peer over the edges and look at the chasms below. Being amidst the mountains shrank my perception of self. How could I think of myself as being so important when I stood among nature thousands of years older than me? We as humans often view the concept of smallness with a negative lens. In middle school and before, I always looked at my small stature with disdain and frustration. My mom's perpetual phrase, "you'll grow into it," actually grew to be infuriating. And the endless amount of useless hand-me-downs, which always fit a size or a million sizes too big, never empowered me, to say the least. Though this perception of myself evolved in high school and I soon viewed my size with a small but mighty attitude, I never examined the whole other side of this attribute until driving in the Colorado mountains. The pure ratio of mountains to me could break any calculator. Compared to the Rockies which surrounded me, I was the equivalent of an ant in the little ant farms you can order online. So again, why would I qualify this concept as a good thing? Compared to the size of all the oceans or even a single stream which stretches on for miles, we are small, and that has to mean something. I believe that nature helps us view these proportions to jolt us back to our true realities. With our busy lives, our identities inflate, like we are the only species that actually matter. At some point, you have to realize that compared to the mountains, to the earth itself, we are basically one atom on that ant in the tiny, shippable ant farm. Whether or not you believe in God or anything at all, there is merit in recognizing that some things are above our capacities of understanding, even just with the sheer size ratio. Though this could be perceived as somewhat intimidating, as Mother Teresa says in the quote that Lisa just read, just because you are one small drop in the ocean does not make your drop any less wonderful and meaningful. It is just our perception that must change. On the way down Independence Pass, my mom announced an upcoming pit stop, the Grottos. Confused, the memory from my childhood experience seemed hidden away on the back shelf of my mind, even after we parked and began walking the short trail to the destination. Yet, immediately as I emerged into the cave, the memories all came flooding back. Never have I experienced something so time-stopping and instantaneous. All at once I could recount the familiar notch pattern of the stone-speckled walls around me and the converging puddles on the slippery floor. Snow melt replaced the icicles, and the grottos seemed dampened by winter's end. I climbed upon the same ledges before. A familiar childish hesitation shot through me as I glanced down once again at my onlooking siblings. My activated memory of the grottos made me prickle with excitement. This experience must have been lodged 14 years back into the corners of my brain, if brains had corners. Looking back at the photograph of little me on the ledge, I was, in fact, wearing a Purple Gap sweatshirt. At that age, I could barely form words, let alone vivid memories, but somehow I remembered exactly what I was wearing. Though this may sound counterintuitive, memories help us stay present in indirect ways. On each new trip or adventure, I remind myself that the exceptional experiences we cement into our memories are never made with black screens in hand. Our past and the small areas of it that we actually remember serve as little reminders for us to remain focused on reality, because if we do so, 14 more years down the line, we will oddly remember an event that happens now. Amidst our distracting lives, the endless tally of college essays to cross off, the stack of Nortons sitting on your desk that never diminishes, the Siddhartha essays to write, and whatever freshmen have to do, we all forget what matters. For me at least, the further I walk into the woods on a hike, or the deeper I breathe in the fresh air, the more I fight this pull to become completely absorbed in everyday stressors. My grotto experience and drive on Independence Pass will stay etched into my memory precisely because I was present and able to take everything in, but also because these experiences were out in nature. Almost all of the truly meaningful memories I have are from the outdoors, on long hikes, camping, beach days, on dog walks with my mom, or playing pickup soccer in the middle of a random field. Nature helps us remember our roots. It highlights our vulnerabilities, and it humbles us as humans when we realize we are insignificant compared to the mountains, the trees, and the rise and set of the sun. The harmony of life around us when we separate from the rush of our daily routines, or even just when we think about things like the miracle of a hummingbird beating its wings 70 times per second, can be astonishing and too important to overlook. Even if you do not resonate with the outdoors and nature as much as I so obviously do, I encourage you to find the hidden spaces in your life that allow you to be present and small, and the awe-inspiring yet minuscule events that you tend to blend into the background of a ticking clock. Because ultimately, our memories are what keep us truly alive and ready to start each new day fresh and enlivened. Thank you.